Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Choda with Ignition Time and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being a viewer. Thank you so much for being a subscriber. I want you to know that I appreciate you. My team and I work hard for you every single day. If you don't know anything about me, please check out my video. You'll learn a little bit more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. Also, if you learn something new from this video, please do me a favor. Please click the like button. Please ignite that subscribe button and gently tap that notification button. But after you ignite the subscribe button, remember the name of our channel is Ignition Time. Let's just jump right in. By the time you see this, it's quite likely that US Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will have spoken again because they had, I should say, a scheduled call at 2 p.m. East Coast time today. I'll report to you what happened during that call. You'll see this tweet on your screen from Jake Sherman over at Politico, and Jake reported that with 8 days left until election day, House Speaker Pelosi and Steven Mnuchin will speak at 2 p.m. East Coast time. And here's another article on your screen. This was actually reported by Bloomberg. Hope is indeed fading on a stimulus vote. And there were a lot of interesting things that happened today. Some new news from the Problem Solvers Caucus and some pretty fascinating comments by the governor of New Hampshire. And I'll be reporting that next on our channel. So make sure you please subscribe and please make sure you enable notifications if you want the truth, if you want balanced news, because I do believe you, my viewers and subscribers, can handle it. So talks over stimulus package have now been going on for 3 months now, and there's a very little chance of a vote actually happening in the next 8 days. This was reported by Bloomberg. And again, they will speak today. The Democrats and the administration will speak, and again, by the time you see this, they will already have spoken because the call was scheduled for 2 p.m. East Coast time today. And let's see if any progress is indeed made. But the failure to strike a deal so far, because they're still talking about the legislative language, all but eliminates the prospects of a stimulus before the election. Now, Monday's call, which is today's call, will be the first call since last Wednesday. In other words, they didn't speak for 5 days. And there are continuing differences about the language, about state and local funding. And the White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi over the weekend accused each other of, I quote, moving the goalposts with the negotiations. I mean, here you have Speaker Pelosi and here you have President Trump. Or I guess let's switch out President Trump with US Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin. Let's swap out Mnuchin for, I don't know, Mark Meadows. And you'll see that, they should be coming together. They should be coming together and coming to a consensus for the American people. But I guess they are moving the goalposts and essentially moving away, whereas in reality, in actuality, they should be moving together. Now, I do want my viewers and subscribers to know that a lot of the work over the weekend was devoted to work by congressional committees on actually writing the legislation. This bill has not yet been completely written and has not yet been fleshed out. So I just want to be clear about that. And aides in both parties say that little progress was made despite the pledge from both sides that both sides want a $1,200 stimulus check. Can you believe that? And most Americans are struggling right now, and we do not have a consensus. I want to be clear, the Senate is set to leave on the confirmation of Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett, and the House is already out. Now, they can be called back with 24 hours advance notice, although that scenario is very unlikely because this is the last week of campaigning before the election. Keep in mind, 35 Senate seats are up for re-election, out of which 23 of those Senate seats are Republican and 12 of those Senate seats are Democrats. So it's quite unlikely that they'll come back for a vote because they are campaigning to get your vote. So it's quite unlikely that they'll be back. And I do believe that this is a failure. I do believe that this is a dereliction of duty. And I do believe that the two sides should have come to a consensus. House Speaker Pelosi did say over the past 24 hours that she sent Mnuchin, I quote, a list of concerns, some related to a strategy to combat the spread of the pandemic, and Democrats have sought language limiting the president's ability to divert funds that were allocated for testing and treatment. And House Speaker Pelosi said, I quote, my understanding is that he will be reviewing that over the weekend and we will have some answers on Monday. More and more people at the White House are growing increasingly pessimistic. And this is what White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows said. He said, we continue to make offer after offer after offer, and Nancy Pelosi keeps moving the goalposts. This was according to White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. And Republicans in the Senate have indeed remained an obstacle. But this is what White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows said. He said that the administration cannot say whether 13 Republican senators, which is the minimum necessary to get a bill to the Senate floor, would support a deal until one is reached. He said, obviously, we've identified those Senate Republicans most likely to vote for it. That's what the White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows said in the past 24 hours. I do have a commitment from Leader McConnell that if we have an agreement, he's willing to bring it to the floor and get it passed. And both sides indeed have political incentives to try and get this done. And House Speaker Pelosi had hinted at a compromise on liability reform, whereas companies following strong government recommendations could claim compliance as a defense in civil lawsuits by employees. And Meadows had suggested that the differences in state and local funding could be resolved by directly earmarking funds for transportation or private sector job creation. So they were coming close together, but Senator John Thune of South Dakota, the number 2 Republican leader, told reporters in the past 24 hours that he has some confidence an economic relief bill can be agreed to after the election, which will decide control, the election will decide who wins the presidency or, retains the presidency and who retains the Senate or regains the Senate, depending on who wins. And this is what Senator John Thune said, and I quote, "The prospects will improve after the election once we get past the current unpleasantness that we go through every even-numbered year. There's a whole range of things that we all agree on, and I don't know why we can't at least do that. And then if they get the majority, they can come back later. If they don't, we are still in the majority, then I suspect that there's more interest in trying to get a deal." These are words from Senator John Thune. And also, we have everyone's favorite uncle, Uncle Kudlow, who was interviewed this morning. And let's take a look at what Larry Kudlow had to say, essentially echoing the sentiments of the pessimism, if you will, surrounding a deal. And of course, telling us that it is a V-shaped recovery. Kudlow did say that the goalposts have moved and that there are still some unanswered questions. Let's roll the tape and see what Larry Kudlow, the White House Chief Economic Advisor, Uncle Kudlow, in fact, there he is. Hello, Uncle Kudlow. And this is what Uncle Kudlow had to say. Let's roll the tape.
I'm almost embarrassed to ask because at this point, it just seems like tilting at windmills. My guess is we're not going to get anything done in the next month and potentially not for at least 3 or 4 months after that, as you wait for the new Congress to be seated and for Inauguration Day. What do you think is really happening here?
Well, look, I don't want to make any predictions on this. The talks have certainly slowed down, but they're not ending. I mean, one thing I will say is the committee chairmen on both sides, Senate and House, have been meeting and discussing various aspects, the small business loans and many other issues, different appropriations. We'll get a report this morning. Secretary Mnuchin will be talking to them. I think he's going to be talking to Speaker Pelosi. The big issue here right now is we're close, but there's still important policy issues that separate us. And our team believes there have to be more compromises on the House side for us to get there. Becky, I don't want to be optimistic. I don't want to be pessimistic. I'm just kind of reporting where I think we are. Secretary Mnuchin will probably speak on it later today after he checks in with the Speaker and some of the committee chairmen and see if anything moves. But right now, unfortunately, the goalposts have moved. There's still some unanswered questions.
Now, in the next segment, Larry Kudlow was specifically asked about the economic recovery, where things are headed, why are the two sides not coming close to a consensus? And he said that we have a strong V-shaped recovery. Now, it's up to you to decide whether we have a strong V-shaped recovery or this is a K-shaped recovery, as cases across the country in many, many, many states are spiking. He also said more unemployment benefits are needed. There's a need for more targeted assistance, and there is no need for, I quote, a gigantic political bill. That is what Larry Kudlow said. Let me know in the comments section below if you agree or disagree with Larry Kudlow's comments. Let's roll the tape and see what he said today.
Hey, Larry, we had Governor Sununu on from New Hampshire earlier today, and he says that he'd like to see every member of Congress fired, all 535 of them, because the American people are suffering while this stimulus bill gets booted back and forth. He says, forget it. We'd be better off if we had brand new congressional representation all the way across the board because of this. I just want to ask, as an economist, what happens if we don't see anything done between now and, let's say, early February?
Well, look, my view that this is a strong V-shaped recovery. I mean, lots of new numbers have come in. The third quarter is going to be a very positive quarter, no question about that. And just recently, we've had big numbers on housing sales and home builder sentiment and retail sales and manufacturing. Inventories have to be rebuilt. Even continuing claims plunged 1 million last week. So look, I think that the recovery, although there's a lot more work to do, let me be clear on that, especially on the employment side, nonetheless is proceeding probably faster than most folks thought. So I'll make that point. Second point is we've always argued, you've heard me say this, I think, certain areas could be helped by a deal. Okay, particularly, let me repeat, I'd like to see unemployment assistance. You know, President led with a executive order on unemployment assistance, the $300 plus $100 from the states. That's running out. So it would be a good thing. We put half the people have gone back to work. We didn't put them to work, but half of them gone back to work. I'd like to see some assistance on the unemployment side. I think the PPP small business would be extremely helpful. I think anything to do with helping schools open, COVID-19 related renovations, they need some help. The airlines need some help. In other words, there are specific targeted areas. We don't need a gigantic ideological political bill here. What we need is some targeted assistance area that would be a great help. That's been our view. So I don't want to predict where, when, how, and why, and so forth. They're still talking, but I acknowledge the clock is ticking. And of course, the big thing today is going to be Justice Barrett getting sworn in. I think she won't be sworn in, but I think she will pass the Senate.
Thank you so much, everybody. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. I really appreciate you watching. If you don't know anything about me, please check out my video. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. We release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. That's 2 p.m. You can get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000. That's 70000, and you'll get added to our SMS alerts list. Now, if you want, you can also get added to our email list. Simply go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts, and you can get added to our email list. Now, you can opt out of the email list or the SMS list at any point in time that you want. No worries about that. Sometimes YouTube does not always send out notifications on time. So all I ask you to do is in your browser, bookmark youtube.com/ignition time. That's youtube.com/ignition time. And then you can visit the homepage of our channel and watch the videos at any point in time that you want. You can also follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time because we release exclusive content specifically on Instagram. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is the same. It's also ignition_time. That's ignition_time. So follow us on Twitter as well. Once again, we release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. That's 2 p.m. East Coast time. You'll find the links to all our resources in the description section below. So definitely check them out. Please comment if you want to engage with our community because our community is growing very rapidly. Please share this video with friends and family. That would be your vote of confidence in me and my team and all the effort that goes into this channel behind the scenes. Please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications, please ignite the subscribe button because remember the name of our channel is Ignition Time. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.